Are we live? I think we're live. All right, welcome everyone to this week's episode of the Electrek Podcast. As usual, Fred Lambert coming with you from Quebec. And right now, Seth is a little bit late at this moment, but he should be back in about 15 to 20 minutes, something like that. Sorry, there's a lot of echo right now. Let me just try to fix that. All right, it should be about there. All right. So as usual, we have a big week with Electrek news, and interestingly, our two top posts this week have something in common. It has to do with Tesla being cloned or reverse engineered. Last weekend, we got a report from one of our reader that two Tesla Model 3 vehicles were spotted being airlifted to Germany. Now, to be fair, we don't know for a fact that these are going to German automakers, but I mean, two Model 3 being airlifted directly to Germany early in the production process when it's kind of difficult to get your hands on a Model 3. And considering that we reported on a few times that the aftermarket for the Model 3, the used market for the Model 3 right now is extremely expensive. We're talking about people trying to get away with selling a Model 3 for up to $120,000 at sometimes. But as we reported a week before, they don't find many takers right now. But it looks like someone got their hands on at least two Model 3, and they paid to have it airlifted to Leipzig in Germany, but they're being airlifted at DHL, and that's apparently a big delivery hub for them. And one of the Model 3, you can see on the pictures on our website that we posted that there's a tag for Stuttgart, which is home to Mercedes and Porsche, which would make more sense. So we've seen just a few months back, Mercedes ended up getting a Model X and benchmark it, dismantle it, presumably to reverse engineer it also. So it makes sense that they will do the same with the Model 3, even though they don't have a clear Model 3 competitor at the moment. But it will still make sense for them to get their hands on the Model 3 to learn about Tesla's latest battery architectures and just Model 3 features in general. Similar thing for Porsche, though the first all-electric vehicle that they are planning, the Mission E, as we know, is more of a Model S competitor than a Model 3, but for the same reason, it will make sense for them to get their hands on the car. So the why this news is similar to the other top story that we had this week was the Tesla clone, and we reported on that company a few months back when they first revealed their first prototype. No, it was actually the production car. They had the pilot production, so it's the production car technically, not just a concept as we are often see in the market. So the company is called. I'm awful with Chinese name, but I can barely speak English, so don't ask me to speak Chinese on top of it. The name is Xiaopeng, and the vehicle is called the Xpeng. I've seen other places called it the G3, so I'm not exactly sure about that, but on their website they refer to it as the Xpeng. And the vehicle is a SUV, but if you look inside, it's completely compete on the interior of the Model X and the Model S, which have basically the same interior for at least for the dash and an instrument cluster. You have the same center console design with the 17-inch touchscreen, and the instrument cluster, they just copy pasted the Tesla UI. Same Autopilot rendered with the road in front, and even the exact same power output graphic. Exact same from Tesla. So that's why a lot of people are calling it Tesla clone. But why they came back in the news this week is that they received some massive backing from big Chinese tech giants. They received the equivalent of 350 million US, 2.2 billion Chinese yen, from Alibaba and Foxconn. There were a few other investors too, but the two main backers are Alibaba and Foxconn, which are well known not just in China, but worldwide. Alibaba is a big e-commerce company, of course, and they are starting to venture into selling cars directly on the website, similar to what we're seeing with eBay, for example. And Foxconn, of course, giant manufacturer, best known for the iPhone, working with Apple on the iPhone and other product. They've been tentatively going into the EV space for a while now. Foxconn, we reported on them backing an electric bike, more like electric motorcycles, not just like an e-bike. They were buying a company, taking over the manufacturing for the company, doing that. And now, for now, it seems like it's just financial backing. They are not officially involved in the manufacturing of that new Xpeng Tesla clone. But they did put what we led a financing round for $250 million, which, as we understand, doubles the funding for the company so far. So it's a fairly well-funded company at this point. But as we know with EV startup, it's an extremely capital-intensive industry. So even if you get hundreds of millions of dollars, it doesn't guarantee success, doesn't guarantee to bring you production. But what is encouraging for us here with Xpeng is that they already pilot production. So the money here is going to be used to expand their production line to have higher volume and serve the Chinese market. And they didn't announce any international plans to go global, but it seems like they are well positioned in their home market in China. So of course that brought some interesting discussions about Tesla's idea of open sourcing all its technology and everything, but the difference between open sourcing technology, using similar technology, and actually almost copying exactly the design, that's another thing entirely, in my opinion. And I saw a lot of people in the comments that similar idea. But what's interesting here is that the founder of that company, Henry Xia, founded back in 2014, just after Tesla made the announcement about open sourcing the patents, and he admitted that part of the idea behind is the funding of the company. He referenced the open sourcing of Tesla's pattern as an influence for him. So presumably he used those patents in building the technology for Xiaopeng's vehicle lineup. What we found out, we don't know exactly what technology they're using, but we did find some pictures of their battery pack architectures, which is almost identical to Tesla's Model S, but Model S and Model X have the same battery packs anyway. But the Tesla, I want to say a second generation battery architecture, if you will, considering the Model 3 is the third and the Roadster was the first. But of course, there were several iterations of each of those generations. And so yeah, my understanding is that Tesla wouldn't really care about that kind of as long as they don't make it, they don't sell it. Try to sell it as a Tesla. I mean, if you look at the actual exterior design of the vehicle, it doesn't look like a Tesla at all. Like it's a fairly nice design, everything. It's a SUV, but it doesn't look like the Model X, for example. The signs, signage, the badges are completely different. So they're not trying to pass it as a Tesla. So the most Tesla-like part is really the interior, like I said, where they copy-pasted the UI. So at what point is it really an issue for Tesla? I don't think it really is. If anything, it's as part of it's in line with their mission to accelerate the advent of electric transport. So I don't think it's going to be a problem at that point. Do we have any question right now? So final test for Autopilot. Yes, Bruno Alves. Yeah, that's something that Elon just mentioned earlier today. He said that the latest release candidate, so an Autopilot build ready to be pushed to the fleet, is in the final validation testing phase, which should mean that in the next few weeks we could see a new Autopilot update. Now, he didn't elaborate on the kind of improvement of if there's going to be any new features, I should say. But he followed up the tweet with another mention of more features being in the dev build right now, which doesn't seem to be the same as the one that's in final phase of testing. So I wouldn't necessarily expect to have a big well, maybe a big improvement, but not new features like we were expecting. New enhanced autopilot features like the new Auto Steer Plus or the Smart Summon, or all those features that were promised with the release of Autopilot 2.0. It sounds like it's not in that feature, but it could still feature some great improvement in terms of. I think we have Seth here with us.
Hey there, a little
Hi,
late
Seth.
today.
So yeah, not bad. We're just a minute behind, even though you missed your train.
Well, I blame the MTA for that one. That was spent a half hour on the subway that should have taken 5 minutes.
All right. So you didn't miss much. All we talked about right now is we talked about the Tesla clone and the Tesla, the fact that the two Tesla was spotted going to Germany for presumably for being reverse engineer.
Yeah, those are fun stories.
So what we moved on right now, we're talking about the Autopilot story. So I don't know if you caught up to that yet since you were on the train in New York, but Elon just tweeted that there's an Autopilot update coming. It's in the final phase of being tested.
It's about time, right?
Well, that's the thing. It's about time, yeah, but we're not exactly sure that there's going to be a big improvement to it, because he followed up the tweet right after talking about the dev build. So the build with all the features with the enhanced autopilot, maybe even full self-driving capability. And he said that that's not ready to be released. He said that's not validated enough to be released.
That doesn't sound like a surprise to me. I mean, we're not that close. We're not close to that yet. I mean, frankly, like one that kind of put us where we were supposed to be a year ago would be kind of nice. I mean, I think originally when the Hardware 2 came out, Elon said that in January of last year, which is a full year ago, the Hardware 2 was going to kind of surpass the Mobileye stuff. And as far as I can tell, we're still waiting for that kind of to happen. I know Autopilot isn't really deemed very safe at this point.
Okay. I just a technical point. Do we have echo right now on the live stream? Because I'm getting echo right now. I'm not sure why. I tried to fix the volume of the microphone, but it's not having an impact.
What I did was I muted the Electrek account. I don't know why we have two on there, but I just muted one of them on the bottom of the Hangout. So hopefully that helps you as well.
Yeah, I still have echo, but no echo on the live stream. So okay, I'll just deal with it then.
You can also mute one of the. There's two at the bottom. Just mute one of me.
Yeah, I just have I have you, I have Electrek, and I have myself. But
so mute Electrek.
Yeah, it is muted already, but I still get the echo.
Okay.
So yeah, a lot of delays, but while we could expect a new update coming in the next few weeks, I don't expect it to be a major improvement. Well, like I said, it could be major improvement to current features like the auto steer, smart summon on the traffic over cruise control, but I wouldn't expect new features to come on the Autopilot program just yet. But with this said, I do expect some big improvement in the coming months. Because we are starting to see a lot of data collection increasing from the fleet. So Tesla is pulling more and more data on the fleet. And now, if we trust Elon Musk on this, and I know it's been hard to trust him on that stuff for a while, but back in November, he did say that they have nailed down the neural net, the Tesla neural net for Tesla Vision. And if that's really the case, so if they have a strong neural net now, and you can just feed it data and it will improve, then you can make a new build based on that, validate that build, and push it to the fleet. I think we could start seeing more of that in the coming months, at least.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, it's going to improve. You know, it was kind of interesting. The California DMV thing came out yesterday with the amount of autonomous miles that different companies had reported to the California DMV. Some surprising stuff there was Apple wasn't on there at all for anything. They weren't even like a name listed, unless they're operating as another company that we don't know about. But Tesla said that they had not logged any autonomous miles in California, which I thought was kind of strange. Do you think they're testing elsewhere, like in Nevada or Arizona?
Well, they pretty much said it in their statement. They said, well, they focus on the shadow mode thing, so on pushing the build and running it in shadow mode. But they also said that they do real world testing in non-public test track. So if it's not on a public road, then they don't have to mention it in the DMV report. So
right,
it could
and
still be.
There's that one near Fremont, right? There's a test track over there.
Yeah, it could be, but as you know, we went there on the test track. It's not maybe the most complex environment to navigate a vehicle in.
There was another one. There's another one in the Bay Area, and I don't think it's in Fremont, but it's the one that Apple got busted registering for. So, I mean, could have been that. But, with everybody else doing autonomous driving, it's kind of strange, at least to me, that they're not doing public autonomous testing on public roads in California, at least over the last quarter. But maybe everybody's, building Model 3s right now and they don't have time or something. I don't know.
Yeah, well, we've seen a lot of companies going away from California too. Like right now, I think Waymo does more testing outside of California than they do inside, even though they were the ones with the most mileage in California within that DMV report. So, yeah.
Also impressive on that, just as a side note, is that they only had one takeover in all of November, which is the last one.
Their stats are insane. Yeah,
at that level, Waymo is getting pretty impressive.
But that's the thing. So if you take that report face value and just take the data from each company, there's no doubt that Waymo is way ahead of everyone. But with this said, you have to be careful because is the data very representative from everyone? It's not the same basis, I think. Because if you look at Waymo, they didn't do as many within the city, within San Francisco itself. They do more highway, they do more on in suburbs, so less difficult to do. And they only drive where they can map to. So you focus on the same area, you can get better on the same area. So technically, you could very easily play with that data and just doing the same,
right?
Like on the public road.
If that's the only thing you're trying to do is game the data, yeah. But I kind of feel like Google's really into this.
Oh
thing.
Yeah, I'm not saying that.
The problem is that everybody else has their own autonomous. So who's Google going to sell their stuff to? Like, FCA, like just the minivans or something. Yeah. I don't know if that's that exciting.
Yeah, no.
I guess they're hoping that they're so much better than Chevy and Ford and Mercedes that Chevy and Ford and Mercedes say, okay, dump our plan or put off our plan until later. We'll use Google.
That's what's going to happen for sure. Even if they spend like $2 billion on their technology and they end up being just a fraction of what Waymo is able to do, you're going to have to just buy Waymo's technology because it's just worth too much. Once one company goes fully autonomous, level 5, everyone has to follow. Otherwise, they won't sell cars.
And Waymo is like 5% safer. That's a world, because that's a death. That's when you multiply it out over how many miles and how many cars, like even a couple percentage points safer and more tested equals fewer deaths. So, like, if you have the best software, and that's why everybody's kind of making a run for this. If you have the best software, you're going to own this space.
Yeah. I agree completely. So that brings us actually to another top article of the week that I wanted to comment on. While we actually pretty much did. Waymo announced this week that they are adding thousands of Pacifica plug-in hybrid vans to their self-driving fleet. So that's the vehicle they base their fleet on. They build custom sensor hardware on top of the vehicle and use it for their program.
Yeah, and so a local friend of mine here has a Chrysler Pacifica minivan that I was supposed to test ride today, but I forgot I had a meeting at Google, so I didn't do it yet. But I've driven around in it. It's actually kind of a nice vehicle. That's certainly for traveling. But again, 40 miles of, around 40 miles of electricity, with it being in the teens here, that's probably 30 miles of electric, which gets you around town. But he's an Uber driver, so he goes to gas quite a bit.
Oh yeah, that's not a bad car to be Uber driver, right?
No, not at all.
And interestingly, too, also this week was Google's earning, and they said that about their plan for the Waymo fleet. They confirmed that they're gonna have an app just like Uber or any other ride sharing, ride hailing app. To once their fleet goes commercial. So right now it's just like a closed service in Phoenix, but I think they said this year, right? I think they said by the end of the year they're gonna release the commercial service with the app and everything. Of course, it's gonna be still based on where their fleet is operating and everything, but they are talking about thousands of vehicles, so they could serve some pretty significant areas. Bruno House asked, Autopilot is not testing in shadow mode in every single AP2 car. Actually,
Really?
come again?
I didn't know that.
Well, they're technically they're not, because you can ask not to. Well, we actually don't know. The shadow mode thing we don't know, because that's really on Tesla's hand. You wouldn't even know if they're testing it on your car or not. But if you can decide if you want to share the data with Tesla from your vehicle or not. So if you say no, then Tesla will not try to run any new feature in shadow mode, since they won't be able to get the data from it. So technically, it's no. They're not testing it in every single AP2 unless everyone accepted the feature, which they should really, because there's not much negative impact from it, since you don't pay for the data going up anyway, unless you're on your Wi-Fi, they end up saying it on your Wi-Fi, and you don't have a limited data. But other than that, there's not really any downside to it, other than when the data is anonymous, they say in the video, so they cannot like use it against you in an accident or something. So
right.
Yeah, that's Jaspal saying on Apple conference call. What we expect about the conference call next week, since the podcast is gonna be next week on Friday, we're not gonna be able to talk about it after that. So we might as well talk about our expectations this week.
Yeah.
Well, on my part, we already
every
know the deliveries. They had record deliveries. They already confirmed that. So there's not gonna be many surprise here. It's gonna be record revenue for sure. But I expect they're gonna lose money again, as usual, especially at that time in Q4. They say that the best they had was an extrapolated rate of 1,000 per week at the very, very end of the quarter. So if they invested for 5,000 a week in the quarter, but they ended up just producing technically 1,000 per week for 3 days, you're going to lose money for sure. Like 5,000 per week is an immense investment. So it's going to be money losing, record revenue. But I think the most interesting part is going to be the conference call, of course, because we should have an update on the status of the production of the Model 3.
Yeah, the Model 3 number is going to be the big, how many deliveries. We know that there's going to be crazy amounts of, orders still available. But I have to say, like, anecdotally, my Model 3, which if you've been following the podcast, you know that I'm still waiting for mine. I went to the Tesla Service Center in New York City, kind of why I'm a little bit late today, and I had them go in on their computers to find out where mine was, because my delivery date was supposed to be November to January, and it's now not January anymore. And they said it didn't even have a VIN number yet. So, and I configured mine within, I would say, about 2 minutes of getting my email. Actually, I configured mine before I got my email. So, and I got the base model. So basically a black, added nothing to it. So it should be pretty easy to get. And as of this date, today, there's no VIN number. So it hasn't even been built yet. So I'm at least, they said March would probably be. So we're looking at 2 months late. And that's after having moved it back. I'm in New York, so maybe that has to do with logistics and some other stuff, but it hasn't even been built yet. So they're still having some problems. building the cars, and they're delivering plenty of them, but they've got so many to deliver. Like, and I mean, think about it, order of magnitude. Like they've built how many 200,000 cars in their and then in totality. Is that
No,
right?
closer to 300,000 now.
Okay, closer to 300. They have 400,000 orders, more than probably closer to 500,000 orders. So they have to build every car that they've ever built, in 10 years with the Roadster and everything. They have to build that plus another so many to catch up. Not even to to sell that first one that somebody buys on the spot. So they're just going to be behind forever. And bad news for people ordering now. Like, there's no way you're getting a car in 2018 if you haven't ordered one already.
Well, it all depends if they actually achieve during the first half. Is it the first half? Yeah, first half. 500,000 a week, 5,000 a week. Excuse me. If they get to 5,000 a week, they're gonna work through that backlog pretty quick. Because 500,000 is global, but in the US, if you order in the US now, I'm pretty sure you can get it by the end of the year.
5,000 a week times 100 weeks would be 500,000.
Yeah.
So that's 2 years.
Yeah, but that's 2 years global, and also you have to be careful. That's assuming that's 100% take rate for from reservation to order.
Right. No, they probably don't. They probably lost a few. I would imagine. And some of those losses are good losses. I was talking to the Tesla folks today, and they said that a lot of people couldn't wait to get their Model 3, so they bought a Model S. Especially the early ones are 57,000, and the Model S is 70-something thousand. So it's not a big step.
Yeah, that makes a difference to the way that they started with the very highest price Model 3. But yeah, so what we're looking for during the conference call is an update on the 2,500 per week by the end of the quarter. So that's going to be less than 2 months from the time they do the conference call. So they should have a pretty good idea. Other than that, maybe something about the Model Y, when they're gonna reveal the Model Y. Like we said before, we expect it to be revealed this year, so timing on that will be great.
It would be awesome. I don't know. I kind of feel like they're in Model 3 hell right now, and they don't.
Yeah, but if they say like we're at 2,500 a week by the end of the quarter, I think it's gonna, like, a lot of people are gonna relax a lot. Like, if they are really at 1,000 a week right now, and they see a clear path to 2,500 a week in the next 2 months, I think a lot of people are gonna take a breather, and it's gonna go smoother. Of course, right now, based on your anecdotal evidence, it's not very promising.
But that I could just be, they could be slow to New York. Like, why not just deliver a boatload to California, because it's really easy, and instead of putting them on huge trucks and driving them across country. I that's really anecdotal. It's not.
But we've seen truckloads going to Georgia. I think Massachusetts too got a few deliveries, so it's coming to the East Coast. But and maybe something on the solar front too, since Gigafactory 2 in Buffalo is supposedly ramping up and even going into solar cell production instead of just solar modules and solar roof tiles. So solar roof tiles started too. So soon enough, it should be solar cell being produced directly at the Gigafactory 2, going into solar modules and solar roof tile.
How far is Buffalo from you?
From me, it should be probably like 7 hours, something like that.
Yeah, it's about the same for me. It's pretty far. That would be fun to go check out that factory.
Yeah, the Tesla said that we should be able to go, but that was before it was delayed a few times in terms of the ramp up. Once they start battery cell production and just start to ramp up, it should be like a really fully formed factory that's now worth looking into.
Yep.
So yeah, we should look into going to see it and make a feature that's a clone Electrek. But what I was saying is that what we were looking to is going to be like an update on where they are going with the Tesla solar division, because we know that there's been a really slowdown in terms of solar deployment since Tesla acquired SolarCity. But now, out of nowhere, this week, the news came out that Tesla is expanding their deal with Home Depot to go into 800 stores across the US. So that's sort of goes again the original plan that was to leverage Tesla's existing retail locations and showrooms and malls and stuff like that, where there's a high foot traffic areas. And instead, they're gonna go with Home Depot, but SolarCity already had a deal with them, so it's not entirely new or anything. But it looks like a significant expansion on that deal. If they think about doing that, maybe they think into going back into growth in terms of solar deployment instead of just cutting staff and making sure that they're going for a higher margin solar installation instead of just going with anything that wants to get a lease or a power purchase agreement and stuff like that. So we might see a shift there. So I think there's going to be a few questions for Elon and the team on that. Of course, energy storage, of course, but energy storage seems to be going great and progressing nicely over the last few quarters.
Yeah, it'll be nice to see if they have any like big numbers from energy storage. I mean, obviously we have Australia, we have some big projects in California. If that was a significant piece of the puzzle, it would be kind of nice to see. As far as Solar City is concerned, I agree with you. They've really cut back on their, pretty much everything. I think they've kind of rebooted Solar City. I mean, obviously they killed the name Solar City and Tesla Energy now. But Solar City used to be everywhere. Like they would just,
marketing wise,
they would knock on your door. They would, they would call you back 100 times, even if you told them to stop calling you back. I think Tesla is trying to create a more higher level brand. With Tesla's already a high level brand, but kind of bring Solar City into that fold where they go after the high margin projects. They get really quality people on board. They kind of maybe train up the people a little bit better. I know the Solar City folks I dealt with were all just very confused about the organization and what they could offer. The solar guy was talking about putting panels on the north side of my house, which is kind of a no-no in solar land, just to get enough panels up to get the write-off that he was looking for. So, I think it's a good thing. It's not going to look good on the balance sheet over this time, but I think you're trying to build a strong brand and a strong company, and you're trying to integrate Solar City into Tesla. It's smart to kind of reboot and get everybody on the same page.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing you mentioned, like the calls and they keep calling you. Solar City bought like a marketing company back based in Las Vegas, and I think Tesla
that was them.
Yeah. Tesla, but they kept them, or at least they kept like the location and everything, because the Model 3 inside sales team is all coming from Las Vegas.
Yep.
So a lot of people that
I think it's inexpensive to live and work and do business in Las Vegas. I think call centers it's a pretty good place to do that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So they grew their inside sales team with through that acquisition again.
Yeah, I mean, as opposed to putting people in Fremont, which the Bay Area is very expensive and whatever.
Yeah. Other news that we could move into that was interesting this week was so Tesla updated their referral program, and the biggest news through the update of the referral program, because the referral program was due to end on the 31st of January, and they renew it until April. And that came with still free supercharging access for Model S and X. So that was supposed to end, if you remember, like a whole year back in going into 2017. They ended up just attaching it to the referral program. And since then, we assume that pretty much everyone that was buying a Model S and X were just buying it with the referral program, because there's just so much value in having the free access to the supercharger. And that was supposed to end again this week on the 31st, but they still renew it and kept the free access. And they also added a new thing for each referral. First referral for each owner, you get a $500 Tesla credit.
That sucks for us. because everybody's going to go searching for that one guy who hasn't gotten a referral yet, so they get
Yeah,
like $500. But
yeah,
it's probably smart because that'll spread their referrals out a lot more. Obviously, I'm not too stoked about it, but good for whoever.
yeah. Well, what it's gonna mean is gonna be that everyone's gonna have a black signature on wall connector from Tesla because that's the first price. And pretty much everyone's gonna have first place. And like you said, instead of someone more popular, like so especially the YouTuber that always get all the referrals,
Right.
now they're gonna just get one, and people are gonna try to find someone that only have one, like you said. But that means that pretty much every owner is gonna get at least one referral, so they're all gonna get that same signature black wall connector, which is supposedly exclusive, but now it's gonna be just the most common thing ever.
There's going to be a lot of those, and unfortunately, we're not going to get our roadsters probably, or we might, but it's going to be some work.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that if you guys want to use our referral codes, we were trying to get the Roadster.
Use
We are
mine.
each come again.
Use mine.
Yeah, we are competing with each other on top of it. So I think Jamie leads right now with the most referrals.
Really?
Yeah, I think he's at like a 42 or something like that.
Oh man, 42. So he's only got 8
Well,
more. 42%.
no, 42 referrals.
So he's
But
84%.
Yeah, but I think that the 42 accounts for before they were counting toward the Roadster. So it's probably like at 60 or something like that. I'm at
Where are
50.
you? I'm at 48. Oh,
48.
man.
Yeah, so we're all around.
I'm going to put a popover on the site to.
I saw that just before the switch from the 31st. On the 31st, someone was pushing in the referral code, and they bought AdSense, AdWord, Google, and they were showing up on Electrek.
Oh, nice. Right.
But it's not legal. Tesla shut them down when they do that. I don't know if he got caught or not, but yeah, and there were a few other things too with the aside from the supercharger access staying in the program. There's like this secret level things which is part of the getting a discount on the Roadster. The new secret level 4 right now is a chance to raise the Tesla semi truck on Tesla's test track.
That sounds kind of scary.
Yeah, because you have people who probably never have driven a truck, or at least a Class 8 truck.
Wait,
before.
are you racing against other people, or is it like you're just
no? It's like an autocross, I think.
Okay.
Like you're racing against time, but you're still going at full speed with a Class 8 semi truck, and most people are gonna do it are never driven a Class 8 truck before. So the first time you drive a Class 8 truck, you drive the most powerful Class 8 truck ever made, and you race it on a test track. It seems like a recipe for disaster.
Yeah. Yeah, they've been getting, Elon's been getting a little risque lately.
Yeah, the flamethrower stuff at the same time and everything.
How many flamethrowers did you buy, by the way?
Come again?
How many flamethrowers do you have?
I didn't order any.
Me neither.
No, especially since I'm in Canada. I thought like there could be a problem with getting that across the border or something. I didn't. I have my Boring Company hat, and that's enough for me for now. But yeah, well, I assume that in terms of the Tesla Semi.
So what are the other reward levels? Do they sell like power walls and wheels and all that stuff?
They pretty much stay the same, yeah.
Okay.
So I assume that
if you've already gotten to Powerwall level or wheels level, do you get to Powerwall level and wheels level again, or is it just part of the same?
It sounds like it. It sounds like that.
Okay. These things are never very clear, and they're always. It's always kind of ambiguous, and like that's why the Roadster thing is so crazy. Because do I want to put 125,000? Like if we get to 50%, that means we get a Roadster for 125,000, which. Like that's obviously it's a big layout for something that's very ambiguous and like, oh, we meant like a Founder's Roadster that maybe you won't get or whatever.
Yeah.
So all these,
if you look at it, like if you look at all the awards that like you won because you've been in the program for the longest between the two of us, and you've won pretty much every reward for a year and a half, 2 years.
I've got no
And how
cars.
many of them did you get? Like two?
Like a third of them.
Yeah, you
I've
got
got
like a bag and
I've got no power walls. I got the arachnids. I got the the clothes and that, the luggage or whatever that you
invite
got.
to Tesla Semi event too.
Yes, the invite. So some of the stuff is coming through, but like I think I have 2 power walls, or
You should have 2 or 3 power walls at this point.
I think 3
I should
maybe.
have 1.
Yeah, and I've been
never got
asking every time I go there. They're always like, "Oh, we can't get Elon to sign it," so that's what's holding it up.
We know well, so that's a bullshit answer. But especially since I don't think he's actually signed. It's just like the signature wall connector. It's a copy of a signature. But anyway, what they did change though right now is that you can take cash instead right away. So
right.
If you want, like, if you really have 3 Powerwall 1, I mean, you're probably not gonna want to use 3 anyway. You could
Powerwall 2s, right?
Yeah, and
because I don't want a
yeah,
Powerwall
maybe
1.
the original one was maybe like a first though. I'm not sure. But they're not making them anymore, so they're gonna give you 2 anyway, if they ever give you 1.
Yeah, I actually need a Powerwall. I've been like I have solar on my house. Our power goes out all the time. I would like to actually have 2 Powerwalls actually. Like it would actually be perfect for me. And I don't care if they're red and they have Elon signature. All that would be nice. I just need Powerwalls, and I've been doing this for like I don't know 4 years or something. And the referral folks are just like, man, we don't know.
So for me, I got the email and I can exchange it for Tesla credit instead.
How much?
$7,800.
$7,800?
Yeah.
For 1 Powerwall?
Yeah.
That's high, isn't it? I thought Powerwalls were like 3.
First of all, I'm not sure if it's Canadian or not. If it's Canadian, it's not like a good deal. If it's not Canadian, it makes sense with installation because I think they were saying that the award included a Powerwall installed.
That's a good point. Install, yeah. So you get Tesla credit or just cash? So it'd be
Tesla credits. What I was thinking is that if I can get it sooner, like I could use it. But if I end up having like access to the Model 3 before having access to the Powerwall 2, and then screw the Powerwall and I just put it toward the Model 3, then I save a few bucks. Like I get like almost the long range battery pack for free, something like that.
Right.
Almost. It's 9,000, so no, it's not exactly it, but
still, yeah.
Yeah, it makes the difference. With the 8,000 that you get from the provincial government in Quebec, yeah, that like that's $16,000 off my Model 3. I wouldn't turn my head on that.
So are you going to trade in your signature, or are you going to have 2 Teslas?
Don't know yet. I kind of want to keep the signature because it's a signature.
Well, not only that, but that's the first Canadian Model S. I think that's kind of special.
Yeah, but the thing right now is I don't have anywhere to put it. I have 1 parking spot. It sucks for a parking spot too. So if I had like a garage or something like that, it would be a no-brainer. I would keep the car and try to see if I ever.
We should give it away to the. We should give it away to the people who get us a Roadster.
So, if I can get the Roadster for free instead, then yeah, maybe.
Okay, so we're gonna have a contest. We're not gonna post anywhere about it, but if you guys help us get to 100, and that's all of us, Jamie,
all
Brett,
3 of us,
all three of us have to get Roadsters, and if you do that, you get Fred's car.
Yeah, you get
and Jamie's Roadster, and I'll give you my Bolt, my Chevy Bolt.
Yeah, and Jimmy gives his Roadster, its original Roadster, and keeps the new Roadster, and you give your Bolt.
Actually, I'll give you the Bolt. the Prius. Actually, yes, you will get a 2012 Prius. A little bit of damage in the front.
Yeah, I don't think that's a good deal. Don't take that deal, people. Don't take that deal.
Yeah, who's? I mean, come on. We should definitely give away something and get Roadsters. Like, what? How are we not all going to have Roadsters? That would be kind of a sick like little situation.
Yeah, we
I
could
mean,
we
it's
could all
it
race
actually
also.
sits four. My kids would fit in the back. We could get to Florida in like 2 hours. It'd be great.
Yeah. And if I get a roadster for free, that's one thing I will do for sure. If I get a roadster for free, I'll take delivery in Fremont and drive it back all the way to Montreal and make meetups event at each place and let people like a bit like Yo-Yo did with Model 3, like the unofficial driving official road trip with the Model 3.
I
The
hope
same
that's
thing
in
with the
summer.
roadster. Come again?
I hope that's summer, not winter.
Yeah, definitely. Though it's just a problem once I get back to Montreal, or I do like something. I do New York,
Drive to Florida.
Fremont, Florida, or Fremont, New York, or something like that, and for the rest, like I ship the car. Not to, for, so
New York,
I don't
New
have
York
to
is
drive.
not a playground, and like right now, we just have a sheet of ice on the ground.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't think we're any better than you guys right now.
Oh, I don't. You should bet on that.
Got like 6 feet out there.
Look outside right now. It's not a pretty sight. How you divide the car up into 100 pieces? Yeah, no, let's not. Let's not do that. It's gonna be a piece of art. You know, you don't want to do that.
Okay.
No, but yeah, that was because we thought too that the roadster thing, the roadster discount, was gonna end with the previous round of the referral program. Looks like it didn't. Like you can still add up to it. I haven't yet, so I'm not 100% sure, but it sounds like it.
Yeah, and it's also kind of weird that because they don't credit you on a percentage point until there's a delivery. So it's questionable, like if somebody orders it on the last day, but they're not getting delivery till for a month later, do you get credit?
Yeah.
I mean, do you get? I don't know. Do you get credit or not?
Well, because they show you the percentage as soon as someone ordered, but
really, no. I think it's as soon as somebody gets delivered.
No, I don't.
Because
I don't
they can cancel. Really?
Yeah. That's why it's weird, because if they cancel, then you lose the percentage, but you can go over 100%. So I don't think they.
It's all so confusing. Like it's just like we're just like. I mean, it's such a great prize. Like it's a like astounding prize. You know, you sell 50 Teslas, you get a $250,000 car. That's.
Okay. So I'm at 52%. And I have 22 delivered, so that's 44%.
So I have 27 delivered, and I'm at 48%.
Yeah, but 27 includes like the last round. I think,
know, but isn't that's obviously very confusing?
Yeah,
right? They should cut it off and just say, look how many, whatever. Anyway, so buy one from Seth
or from Fred, or since Jamie is not here, I'm gonna say it for Jamie too.
Definitely not Jamie.
And Jamie's already like at 60%.
He's already in the lead, and he already has a roadster. Like what? He doesn't need another roadster.
Yeah. Come on. Speaking of high performance electric vehicles like the Roadster, Porsche today, well, they've been releasing a series of interviews with their top executive in charge of the electric programs, especially the Mission E programs.
Yeah, they're trying to keep that in the news for sure. They're definitely dripping out news.
Yeah, they're trickling down information about it to sting the news. And this week was interesting because it was all about the production. So there's been a rumor ways back that Porsche was aiming for 20,000 Mission E a week. No, not a week, a year. Which is kind of significant for Porsche because they're not like high volume. Well, they're definitely high volume. I think we're talking about 200,000 vehicles per year. But
really, I didn't even think they were that big. I thought they were like kind of 100,000.
Well, the Cayenne and the Panamera and all those cars, they're pretty significant volume.
Okay.
But 20,000 is still like it's still big for them. Like it's at least like 10% of the overall production. So it's a big investment for them. So they explain what they were doing, and they are basically adding new buildings to create a second production line at their Zuffenhausen factory. Zuffenhausen.
Your German's fantastic. I don't know.
Yeah, Zuffenhausen factory in Germany, which right now produce a bunch of their sports car. but they said that their current line is full, so they are adding a whole new line just for the Mission E. And the executive edition, Raymold, confirmed that they are aiming for 20,000 a week. They already have production prototypes, so they have pilot production set up, and they are producing production prototypes. The full line is going to be installed this year. By the end of the year, they're saying that they are receiving the equipment right now in early 2018, so they're going to set it up this year, and the production is going to start in 2019. So they didn't give a timing on 2019, but what I'm most worried about is normally if someone say 2019, it's the 2020 model year, so it's going to be late 2019. So that'd be kind of a bummer. But still, Mission E is coming, and it looks like it's going to be crazy.
Yeah, it looks like a fantastic car. Like, good. I can't wait. Like, I want to see those on the road. I want to test drive them. I'm really excited about it. And as a matter of fact, the most exciting part about that is the speed at which they charge the batteries, supposedly on that. Like, if it's really 800 volts, and I mean, so there's something interesting I learned. There was a engineering.com article about how once you go over like a megavolt, the electricity starts arcing through insulators. So like, if you have that much power, it starts like shorting out and going to places it's not supposed to go. So pretty much the high end of the voltage that you can do is 800 volts on this particular type of charging network. The way they're going to get around that on the Tesla Semi is that they're going to actually have at least four or five different cables next to each other, each one at like 800 volts. So it's interesting that 800 volts is kind of like the top end of where you're safe. You might be able to get to 900 or close to 1,000. But so we're kind of stuck at 800 volts in one cable. Now you could have two cables, two separate cables running 800 volts each, and three and four, and that's probably what the Tesla Semi will have. But it's just interesting to me that we now know like a theoretical maximum of how fast or how many volts you can have in a cable that you're using to charge, because otherwise it starts zapping people and other parts of the car. So that's the maximum, and Tesla right now is at 400 volts, so they can double that, and theoretically they can double their charging speed from where they're at now. So that would be cool. But I think, to me, the most interesting thing is, like, we know how to get voltage to the batteries, but how do you charge at such a fast rate that you can actually charge at 350 kilowatt is what they're the high end of what they're saying. I mean,
Porsche,
yeah, I mean that's a few minutes. I mean, you could do that if you have a ton of batteries. Like if you have 200 kilowatt hours of battery, like the Roadster is going to have, then you can it's like charging two decks of 100 kilowatt. That's one way to do it. I don't know if we know how many kilowatt hours the Porsche is going to have, but
yeah, it's a good question.
It'll be interesting to see how they get to that. My theory is that they're going to probably come in at like 150 kilowatt.
What do you think?
Initially, and they're going to say, well, we're testing the higher, and maybe we'll get up to 200 or something. But like, I just don't see them in their first try coming out double of what Tesla's been able to accomplish. That's just me.
Yeah. What I fear for the Mission E, where they could have issues with competition with Tesla, is if you take into account what Tesla announced with the Roadster and what Tesla could do. So the Roadster is set for 2020, and Tesla could leverage the technological improvement in the Roadster and introduce, like in 2019 or even this year maybe, a version of that technology into the Model S
and Model X,
the highest performance Model S. So instead of a P100D, you get something else even more powerful and more efficient and higher charging and everything, and all those features, and just beat Model Mission E to market, not with a new car, but a new version of the Model S.
And I think it's inevitable that there's going to be a new Model S. I mean, as soon as the Model 3 reaches parity, like with supply and demand, that is going to be a hard sell. because the Model 3 is such a nice car, and it's got a lot of things that the Model S doesn't have, and it's only a little bit smaller than the Model S. And like, frankly, if Model 3s were on the street, I don't think it would be an easy sell to get a Model S sold. So between now and when Model 3s reach parity, which is probably a year or two, probably 3, but at that point, Tesla's got to have some kind of upsell on the Model S, and I guess the Model X at that time. So I think a big refresh is coming to the Model S. I think.
And you say refresh, but it's a refresh design. So maybe the design is gonna get an update and everything. But I think it's gonna be like Tesla Roadster technology is gonna go into the Model S, or at least the high performance Model S. And for the
also
market,
the screen too, the landscape screen, I think from the Model 3 is going to jump over to the S and X as well.
Yeah, that was very cool. I think it's going to be a big impact on the market too, because right now, like you said, a lot of people are expecting just the same argument that you put right now, that there's going to be a big cannibalization between Model 3 and Model S. But if Tesla introduce a big refresh on the Model S and the same technology that's on the Roadster, I think the order book's going to go crazy, as they always do when Tesla push the Model S higher in terms of performance and everything. Like when the P100D was unveiled, there were thousands of orders right away for
right. There's a segment of Tesla's customer base that money is not really an object. And I was talking I was at the Tesla in Chelsea today, in Lower Manhattan, and they were like, "Yeah, our job is to sell to these investment bankers. That the Model 3 is nice, to look at and everything, but we're selling tons of Model X's to investment bankers who just want a vehicle to drive on New York City horrible streets." And I think you introduce a P120D that's got plus, that goes 2 seconds, and it's got some other crazy stuff on it. I don't even know what else it could have, but everybody who's got a 100D who needs to have the best thing would trade in their D, and somebody else would get it and get a 120. All these guys whose money isn't an option.
You see it on the used market, on the used Tesla market. Each time they have a new trim that's made better than the last highest performance trim, a bunch of those vehicles end up on the used market because they all ordered the newest version. So I think we're going to see the same thing the next time Tesla does it, which again, like we said, we think is going to be relatively soon, either late this year, early 2019 would make sense. I think it would be the Mission E to market, and I think the Mission E is the biggest competitor right now that Tesla has on the map.
Yeah, from the high end. And I think it's always happened. Like, Faraday Future, they say, well, ours is just a couple milliseconds faster than Tesla. And then, Elon shoots out an update, and now Faraday Future's prototype isn't as fast as the cars that Tesla's selling, and thousands and thousands are on the road. I think, we're going to get the specs of the Mission E, and then magically, right before the Mission E hits the road, there's going to be Teslas that beat it in every single way, including charging. Yep. So,
I guess we could end talking about our new Patreon.
Yes. So, thanks for staying with us this whole this hour show. We're trying something new here. I've got 5 sites, and I haven't really tried this model before, but we've gotten a ton of requests from Electrek readers who, for whatever reason, don't want to look at our ads, or maybe they've gotten a malware ad from one of the rogue ad vendors or something, and they want to contribute directly to the site. And we see other sites in other markets opening up Patreons, so we're going to do that, and it would be a great way to support the site. Theoretically, if we get quite a bit of money from Patreon, we can reduce the number of ads on the site. And also, we've got some nice gifts for the people who support us the most. So the people who come in at $5 or more will get a T-shirt after 6 months, and which like Fred is showing off. Yep. And I wish I had my Electrek hoodie on. I was
I
like,
have it too. I have
oh,
both.
nice. Okay, so then at $10 or more per month, you get Electrek hoodie after 6 months. And frankly, like these are the clothes to have around town. Like, I mean,
We're not selling them any other way. So it like right now the only people that have those Electrek apparels or Electrek staff are a few friend of the sites that we met along the way, and yeah, so that's the only way to get them, and we're gonna update the rewards every once in a while so that you always get something with if you contribute regularly to Electrek to our Patreon. But right now we're really like testing the water, if you will, see how it goes. We just launched it officially today, and we're already at 26 patrons right now. So we're gonna see how it goes. If you're a regular reader of Electrek and you like what we do, and you listen to the podcast and stuff like that, and you want to help us out, we appreciate it. If not, it's freely available anyway. So thanks for listening, and we're gonna see you next time.
take it easy.
Ciao.